Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial video about using Apache JEXL library to evaluate Java expression language. In this demo we're going to see some of the basic functionalities of this library and at the beginning we have to go to the website of the Apache Commons JEXL. We will see that there is a few information about the usage of this library, and then we have to go to the download page where we can download the latest version as a zip file. For this demonstration, we're going to use Eclipse Kepler, and we're going to start by creating new Java project that I will name JEXL. Then I will add a folder that will contain all the libraries required for this demonstration. This folder will be called lib. I'm going to copy and paste the JEXL common library jar, and we'll add it to the lib folder. And if you go back to the Apache website, we will check the references page. We will see that one of the dependencies that is the commons logging. So I'm gonna have to go back to my project and add this library to this folder, and then I'm gonna add both of these libraries to the build path. Now we're ready to create our first class, the main class that's gonna invoke the JEXL library, and I'm gonna call it main. In the beginning we have to create a new instance of the JEXL engine. So I'm gonna create a private static JEXL engine instance, and let's name it engine. And then I will use this engine instance to create a unified JEXL. So I'm gonna create a private static unified JEXL variable, and I'm gonna call it unified, and then I will pass the engine to it. As you know that we have to evaluate an expression language statement using this engine, so we have to declare the expression itself, and we're gonna start by a simple expression that would say hello to some variable. As we all know that the expression language requires that the variables to be encapsulated with a $sign and two curly braces, as you can see. Now, in order to teach the engine about the values of the parameters or the variables in this expression, we have to create a context map. So I'm gonna create a JEXL context, and I'm gonna name it context. And for this context, I have to define or set the values of the variables. So I'm gonna use the variable that I've just created, some var, and I'm gonna give it any dummy value like JEXL. Okay. Now let's evaluate the expression. In order to do that, I have to use the unified JEXL that I've just created, and I will parse the expression, and then I will evaluate using the context I've just created. This is the simple line that could be used to evaluate an expression language. Now the return of the evaluate is in an object, so I'm gonna catch this object, and then I will print out the value of this object. Now let's do our first run and see how this is going to work. So simply I'm gonna run this as a Java project, a Java application. As you can see that this says hello JEXL video demo. Alright, now what we have done is that we simply use JEXL to evaluate the value of the variable and replaced it with the value that we have just added in the context. So let's go to the next level, and let's create a project class called person. And for this person we have to add some of the properties like the ID and the name and the address, and then we're gonna add an integer representing the age of the person. And then let's create getters and setters for these properties. Of course, if you right click and use the built-in Eclipse capabilities, you'll be able to create the getters and setters. And then for the simplicity, let's add a constructor that will take all the fields as input. So again, I'm gonna Control Shift S and then choose create constructor using fields. I'm gonna select all, and now we have the constructor for the person taking all the parameters required. Let's do some modification on the expression language that we just created. So let's add my name is, and then I will add another expression, person dot name, and then let's say that I live in, and I will say another variable, person dot address. Now in order to evaluate this expression, we have to define the new variables that we just created, the person keyword. So I'm gonna use the context one more time. Before that, of course, I have to define the person instance. So I'll say that some person equal new person of, give it some dummy ID, and name to be Sam, and the address to be 21st Jspx Street. Okay, and the age, okay, the age will be 21. Now let's set the value of the person variable in the context with the object some variable. So I'm going to use the context one more time and say set the value of the person keyword to the value of the some person object. Now let's run this time and see how this is going to work. Alright, as you see that hello JEXL video demo, and then my name is Sam, I live in 21st Jspx Street. Okay, this is great for now, but if we change it, the expression, and change it the keyword to person, we'll see that there will be an error, and the output, as you can see, that there is a warning that the person is not defined, is undefined. So we have to be careful about the expression and the keywords added to the context. How can I access multi-level properties if I have like person dot something and so on? For this, let's modify the address of the person. So first, let's do some modification on the person object by creating in another object, another project class for the address. I'm gonna name this class as address, and then I'm gonna define some of the properties of the address, like the street and the city, and integer for the building. Alright, now let's create getters and setters, and sorry, and let's create a constructor that will take all the parameters as input. After that, we have to go back to the person class to change the address from being a string into the new object or new model that we have created. So let's do this modification by declaring the address as an instance of the address. Okay, and then let's use the constructor to put some of the variables, that some of the parameters. Like street will be Jspx Street, and the city is anything, and source forge, for example, and the building to be 32nd. Alright, now let's on the constructor of the person, and let's fix the getters and setters for the properties and for the address property. Okay, now we have to go back to the main class. As you can see, you have to fix the compilation error because of the address is no longer a string, so we have to put it as let's use the constructor one more time, put it here. Alright, now let's modify the before that, let's run it. We'll see that, alright, I live in, and then address adds some dummy numbers. Well, what happened is that the engine has just invoked the method .string, the default method of the object .string that is inherited by default in the address class. As you see, it has printed out the, I think the default implementation of the dot string method. So for that we have to override the dot string method of the address I just done, and let's run again. I would see that you see that the address has been printed out exactly as the dot string method is implemented. Now let's access the second level of properties for this object. So I would say that person.address.building, and then I would say that person.address dot street. Let's run this time and see how this is gonna work. Alright, as you can see that I live in 32nd Jspx street. Now we were able to access the properties. The question is, can I invoke methods from the objects? For that reason, I would say that I'm going to set the building of the address by the expression language. As you notice that I'm using the method address dot set building, and then I'm passing to it the parameter. And if we run this, we will see that I live in, and the value of the building has been updated. Of course, as this is a void method, it does not return anything. Nothing will be printed out on the screen. So let's go further and print out the building before and after the modification, before and after the invocation of the set building method. And let's see what is the output of this. Alright. Okay, it says that my name is Sam, I used to live in something, and then now I live in something else. As you can see that the invocation of the setter method just updated the value. Now let's go back to the website and see some of the references about what other functionalities that can be done using JEXL. Some of them including functions, built-in functions, some of the logical operators, some of the static methods that you can invoke. And now let's use one of the logical operator, and for that let's create a new expression. And I would say that person dot age, if it is greater than or equal 21, then print out this message: person is adult. Else, print something else: you are minor. Okay, so let's run this time and see what would the output of this. Alright, it says that person is adult. This is because that the constructor of the person is taking 21 as the age. Let's change that to 19 and modify the expression to print out what is the age of the person. Then as you can see that I've used the operator plus, which is understood by JEXL as concatenation. As you can see that it will say that you are minor because the age is 19. So it's pretty much as similar to any expression, to the standard expression language. And let's modify this by printing out the age regardless the decision of the evaluation. So let's run. Alright, it seems that I have put something wrong because the alright, I forgot to add a plus here, so let's do that again. Okay, right, now it's working. It says that you're minor, your age is 19. This is the same the previous results. Let's put it back to 21. It says that alright, your person is adult, the person age is 21. So that's all for this video. We hope that you like it. In the description you will find some of the useful links. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again. Goodbye.